Welcome to English Workshop Fun with Grammar. Our respected chairperson, lovely group of schools, Honorable Dr. S.D. Malik ma'am, always emphasizes on the fact that learning is a lifelong process, which begins with the birth of a child and continues till the last breath. So today, we all are fortunate to dive into the grammatical concepts of grade 3. I hope you all are going to have lots of fun with grammar today. Thank you so much, ma'am. So I would commence the program, the first topic of this workshop, with an activity for which I need help of you teachers. For that, I would request you, ma'am, to please pick up one pink flower. Thank you. Ma'am, you please. One pink one. And one for you. One pink one. One pink. And ma'am, you two also please pick one pink. Now I would request you all to please read out the words which are written over them.
On,
On, okay?
dancing.
On dancing. Ma'am, you?
It's the
On dancing the, fine.
stage.
Stage.
Richer.
Richer.
Is.
Is. So it is on dancing the stage richer is. Is it giving out a meaning? Though we all know the meaning of all the words, we know stage is the place where we perform, richer is a girl, but it's not giving out a meaning. And if I arrange them in a proper order, like richer is sing on the stage. Yes, so that means the arrangement was wrong. The words were not arranged properly. That's why it was not giving out a meaning. So, when the words are arranged properly, in an organized way, in a proper order, they give out a meaning. And then they become a sentence. No sentence is called a sentence unless it gives out a meaning. And the most important thing we always keep in our mind is that a sentence must commence with a capital letter and must end with an appropriate punctuation mark. We should mention an appropriate punctuation mark because when you are asking a question, there should be a question mark. When it's just a statement, there should be a full stop. Now let's do one more. Okay, now this side. Ma'am, please pick up one. Ma'am, can you please read out the
Is.
The is
Baby.
baby
Crying.
crying. The is baby crying. Again, no meaning is there. And when I'll arrange them in proper order, then it will be the baby is crying, which will give me a meaning that my baby is crying. So now, I would like you people to frame a sentence. Ma'am, shall I start with you?
Any
Sentence of your wish.
The girl is playing football.
The girl is playing football. Very nice. Here, who is doing the action? The girl. She is doing the action that she is playing, right? The girl. And the sentence which we had was, ma'am, the next one. Richa is dancing on the stage. Here, who is doing the work? Richa. And the next one was, the baby is crying. Who is doing the work again here? The baby. So, whosoever does work in the sentence becomes the subject. And therefore, we call subject as the doer. Whosoever is doing work in the sentence. Or we also talk about subject as that it is something about which we are talking. Like I say, cow is a useful animal. Cow is a useful animal. So about whom am I talking in the sentence? Cow. So it will be the subject. Now, what about the rest of the things in the sentence? Those are called the predicate that tell us that what action is being done. Like here the sentence is, the alligator eats cookies and milk. Who is doing the work? Alligator. So that is the subject. Eats cookies and and milk. This is the predicate. And we must guide our children to remember that a predicate must possess an auxiliary verb or the main verb. Like here, if I say cookies and milk, that will not be the predicate. A complete predicate is eats cookies and milk. I hope you all must have enjoyed this. Now let's proceed further and learn more about sentences.
So by now we have understood that a sentence is a group of words that are arranged in a proper order and giving a particular sense. It has two parts, subject and predicate. All right. So now I'll be speaking two sentences. You have to listen those sentences very carefully. I am going to Mumbai. Am I going to Mumbai? What is the difference between these two sentences? Anybody?
First statement. In the second sentence, we are asking a question.
Ma'am, I need you there also. Please step forward. Thank you so much. So, in the first sentence, we are just providing you the information. And in the next sentence, I asked you one question, right? So, whenever a sentence gives any information, they are called declarative sentences. Ma'am, now I'll be asking you few questions. Don't worry, I am not asking your age. And you have to answer me in the complete sentence. What is your name?
My name is Deepika Rawati.
Where do you live?
I live in Shakarpur.
What are your hobbies?
My hobby is listening music and dancing.
Thank you so much, ma'am. Thank you. You can have your place. So, whatever I have asked, these were the questions. All the WH family words are included in that. And whatever answers were given by Deepika ma'am, they were the statement sentences. They were providing you the information, right? So, the sentences that provide us the information and facts are called declarative sentences. Yes. For example, Goa is famous for its beaches. The Taj Mahal is a famous monument, we all know that. My brother won the match. Delhi is the capital of India. All these sentences are declarative sentences. You need to remember one thing, they always start with a capital letter and ends with a full stop. Next one was interrogative sentences, I told you previously also. They all begin with the WH family words. When is your birthday? What are you doing? Where does he live? How old are you? Why are you crying? All these interrogative sentences ends with a question mark. So whenever you see a question mark, you should understand that these types of sentences are interrogative sentences. Now I will ask Abhijot ma'am to proceed further.
Okay, so I know not much of the part has been covered, but still, I would like to ask you people to please suggest us something. Okay, ma'am, would you like to suggest us something?
Whenever we are teaching the students, it should be like that, as if you are taking any of the example. Like the girl is dancing and all that. So apart from that, if we will make the child dancing there and we tell the student to frame the sentences then and there, so it will be easy for other students by seeing and by visualizing the things, they cannot distract from the subject. So that's what, and even whatever you have done, that's really appreciable, Abhijot ma'am. That's really wonderful and giving us the right message.
Just one sentence. Thank you. It was a part of my activity. Okay, so she has given us a suggestion in a sentence. Maybe that was a group of sentences were there. Okay, so ma'am, any command which you would like to give us? Go there. Thank you. Okay, ma'am, any other command and or suggestion, anything which you would like to give us?
One more person should be there with the mic itself so that, time is saved. And so he'll be there with the mic. This is the instruction also and the command also.
So now we can see that there was a command, there was a suggestion. The words in all these sentences were different. And if I say please give me that box. Here I have used the polite word please, and that has become a request. So, in whichever sentence there is a command, or we can say an order, or there is a suggestion or an advice, and the third element of that is a request with the polite word, can be please or kindly. Whichever sentence has any of these three elements, that becomes the imperative sentence. The child must remember that an imperative sentence will have three elements. Any one of the three elements, I must say. It can be a suggestion, it can be a command, or it can be a request. Ouch! Oh, it's paining a lot. I said it's paining a lot, right? And the word which I used was ouch. And in this sentence, ma'am, can you please tell me what did you feel? What were my feelings which I wanted to express?
I thought you were hurt.
Okay, you thought that I am hurt. So that means this sentence was conveying a meaning that I am expressing my feelings in that. I was feeling pain and you were able to make out. So that means a sentence which expresses your strong emotions, your strong feelings, is an exclamatory sentence, which can also have an interjection like ouch, you stepped on my foot. And after interjection, there's a sign of exclamation. It can also be like, what a beautiful dress. You are surprised, right? You are surprised to see that, wow, what a beautiful dress she is wearing. So all the sentences where we express our sudden feelings or emotions, they become the exclamatory sentences which also possess a sign of exclamation. I hope you all must be enjoying this. Yes. Okay, so let's recapitulate whatever we have learned about sentences.
It's very, very important to recapitulate whatever is taught. So I'm holding few chits in my hand. And ma'am, can you please pick one chit? Can you read it? Statement. So you have to frame one sentence.
I am dancing on the floor.
Very good, very good. Ma'am, it's your turn. Now she has to frame an interrogative sentence.
Where do you live?
Excellent. WH family. Ma'am, can I have you? Exclamatory sentence.
It's very nice.
Wow, it's very nice. So, I hope all of you have understood these. Now, we will switch on to our next topic, nouns. Each and everything in this world has a name. We recognize each and everything, we identify each and everything with a name. Can you tell me a few things that you see in this hall?
Chairs, teachers, mic.
Okay. Can you name few of your colleagues, ma'am?
Bhavya, Rajni ma'am,
All right.
Megha ma'am, Martha ma'am.
Okay, that's good. Can you name few animals that we see around?
Cat, dog, parrot, pigeon.
Excellent, excellent. So nouns are the naming words given to person, place, animals or things, right? I need 4 teachers to volunteer here. Those who have not come, ma'am, can you please come forward? You also, ma'am. Ma'am, please come. I need 4 teachers. Now what you have to do, you have to pick this placards and you have to place yourself accordingly on the stage. Here you go. Yes, ma'am. One more teacher, please. From here, ma'am, you can move from here. Thank you so much. Name of a person, place, animal, and thing. Naming words, nouns. So let us sing, because when we sing, the children can remember easily. What you all have to do? You have to repeat after me, person, place, animal or thing in a singing tone. Let's do one activity. Okay. What is a noun? Everybody sing.
Person, place, animal, thing.
What is a noun? Everybody sing.
Person, place, animal, or thing.
So, in this way, children can easily remember the define when we sing, right? Sulbi ma'am just has told us.
Okay, so let's play another game also related to nouns only. So first of all, let me start from the teacher sitting on my right side. Okay, ma'am, I would like to start with you. Zing, zing, zing. Please do like this. Zing, zing, zing. Name any two things.
Pencil, pen.
Zing, zing, zing. Name any two things.
Bulletin board and a chair.
Very nice. Zing, zing, zing. Name any two things.
Tree, apple.
Tree, apple. Okay. Zing, zing, zing. Name any two things.
Book and pen.
Book and pen. Okay, now let's change. Lovely, lovely faces. Name two places.
India, Kolkata.
India, Kolkata. Lovely, lovely faces. Please name two places.
Delhi, Singapore.
Delhi, Singapore. Nice. Lovely, lovely faces. Please name two places.
Agra and Mauritius.
Okay, so with the help of this activity, we can make children learn that the names of a place, person, animal or thing are the nouns. So let's learn more about nouns, that how many types of nouns are there. Thank you so much, teachers.
Bhavna ma'am, please stand up. So actually, when I was just using ma'am, so all of you looked quite confused, because I was using a common noun, right? So, but when I said, Bhavna ma'am, please stand up, when I used a proper noun, it became clear to you that I'm asking whom to stand up, right? So in this section, we are going to learn about common nouns, proper nouns. Thank you, Bhavna ma'am. Sorry. Right? And we are going to study about, learn about collective and abstract nouns, right? So common noun is a journal name given, like here we can see a little puppet. He is a cute little boy, right? Boy is a common noun. Shyam is a cute boy. So when I'm using a particular name, we come to know about whom we are talking. She is an active girl. Sheena is an active girl. So using names, or we can say using formal names, makes it specific that about whom we are talking. For this, we'll be doing a small activity. Poonam ma'am, I request you to kindly distribute the chits. I'll request the teachers to just pick up one chit. Yes, ma'am. Teachers who have got the chits with the names of common noun written on it, I request them to kindly step forward. Now, they are going to speak out the noun, and the corresponding proper noun is going to come and accompany them. Yes, ma'am.
Dog. Tommy.
Dog.
Tommy is the proper noun. Dog is a common noun.
Okay, the proper noun I have given is rover. There is a chit with rover. Yes, ma'am. Please.
Next. City. City is the common noun and proper noun for this is Venice.
Pen is the common noun and Reynolds pen is the proper noun.
Parker. Parker, the name of the pen is a proper noun.
River is a common noun. Ganga and Yamuna is a proper noun.
Yes, so this is how we can ask the children to make up pairs so that it becomes clear to them that suppose I'm talking about a dog, right? This is my pet dog, or I can say Rover is my pet dog. So it makes clear that I'm talking specifically about my pet dog. Ma'am, please. Rest of you will stay, please. You can move, ma'am. Thank you so much. Yes, ma'am. Your common noun? Common noun can go? Wait a minute, ma'am. Now, when I say this city is very clean, I'm talking about any of the cities. But when I say Delhi is a clean city, so that means I'm specifically talking about Delhi. I have a beautiful pen. Pen is a common noun. When I say I have a beautiful Parker pen, that means I'm talking particularly about Parker pen. Yes. River, when we are talking about rivers, it's a common noun. Or when I say Ganges or Kaveri or the beautiful rivers in India, we are talking about particular or a proper noun. Thank you, ma'am. Now moving further, we are going to take another group of nouns. Here all of you can see that I'm holding a key. That's only a single object that I'm holding. But this becomes bunch or a group of keys. So collective nouns talk about a group of person, a group of animals, or a group of things. Now let's see more examples in collective nouns. A choir of singers, a troupe of dancers, a class of students, an army of soldiers, a flock of tourists. So collective nouns talks majorly about a group. Here, what is this? Okay. And if you're talking about a collective noun, if we talk about a single object, you can say pearls or beads. But when I'm talking about a collective noun, it's a string of pearls. It's a string of pearls. What are these? Pens. Bundle of pens. Okay. It's a bundle or a bunch of pens. Next, we have abstract nouns. Abstract nouns are those which we can only feel, right? We cannot see them, we cannot touch them. Like, I love my country, right? Love is the feeling that I have for my country. You cannot see it, only I'm the one who can feel the love for my country. So abstract nouns talk about our feelings. They don't have a clear visual image. You cannot see and touch them, but only we can feel and understand them. It can be ideas, thoughts, our feelings and emotions, right? To conclude with the types of nouns, I'll request Abhijot ma'am to again join me for our activity. So we are going to pick up objects. We are going to pick up the objects from the basket, and I request you to name the noun and its type. What is this? A toy. A toy which is a... And when you said Mickey or Minnie, it's a proper... A horse. An animal, and it's a common noun. What are these? These are cards. So, is it a pack of cards, which is a collective noun? Now, when I show you this, only this, what is this? Chocolate, which is a common noun. But when I show you this, it becomes Cadbury Dairy Milk, which is a proper noun. I hope the concept is clear with all.
Now proceeding to our next topic, I want to ask you, what am I holding in my hand? One flower, right? Now let me know. Many flowers. So, whenever we talk about one person, place, animal, or thing, that are singular noun. And when we talk about more than one person, place, animal, or thing, they are plural nouns. So, our next topic is numbers, singulars and plurals. To convert singular into plural, we need to understand few rules. Can we have the rule number 1? Rule number 1 says that if a word ends with S, X, SH, CH, TCH, O or double S, what we have to do? We have to add ES to make it plural. For example, bus, buses, box, boxes, bush, bunch, match, potato, dress. Next rule says we change Y to IES. For example, how do we spell butterfly? BUTTERFLY. What is there at the end? Y. So when we have to make it plural, we have to drop Y, and in place of Y, we have to add IES to make it plural. Butterfly will become butterflies. Family, families. Duty, duties. Army, armies. City, cities. Next rule. If Y is preceded by a vowel, we need to add just S to make it plural. For example, if we consider the spelling of monkey, MONKEY, before Y we have a vowel, E. So, we need not to add IES in this case, only we have to add S to make it plural. Similarly, toy will become toys. Day, days. Donkey. Last rule, change F or FE into VES. Consider the case of knife. What do we have at the end? FE. Whenever in a word there is F or FE at the end, we need to change it into VES. Knife, wife, half, thief. Now let us see how much we have understood. Let's have a quick recap with an activity. Okay. So, box, boxes. Leaf, VES. Because at the end what is there? F is there. Mango, pen, lady, IES, because at the end Y was there. Okay.
Thank you so much. Now, as we all know that language has 4 components. If I talk about English language, it has 4 main skills: listening, reading, speaking, and writing, right? So let's read out one paragraph and enhance our reading skills, because reading is really very important for children. It helps them to learn sentence formation. It enhances their vocabulary also. So I would request one teacher to please read out this paragraph for me. Ma'am, can you please do this favor? Okay, thank you.
Richa is an 8-year-old girl. Richa lives in a small village. Richa is a dusky child. Richa loves to go to school.
Thank you so much, ma'am. Can you please tell that which word is being repeated again and again?
Richa.
Richa. Thank you. Ma'am, just sitting next to you. Ma'am, can you please tell what is this Richa? Is it a noun or any other part of speech?
It's a noun.
Thank you so much. It's a noun which is the name of a girl. So Richa is a noun which is being repeated again and again in this paragraph. And of course it's not sounding so good. Richa is an 8-year-old girl. Richa lives in a small village. Richa is a dusky child. Wait. Children might ask that what do you mean by dusky? So there we can enhance their vocab also. by telling that look at the complexion of the girl. She is dark complexion, so that's why I have called this girl as a dusky child. And the next sentence is Richa loves to go to school. Now, I have replaced that Richa noun with another word. Can you please read that out now?
She.
Read out the whole paragraph once again.
Richa is an 8-year-old girl. She lives in a small village. She is a dusky child. She loves to go to school.
Thank you so much. Now we can understand the difference and we can observe it that Richa has been replaced by a word that is she. So I can also say this thing that noun has been replaced by a word that is she. So the words which replace noun, which replace the name of a person or an object, are called pronouns. Pronouns, the ones which take the place of nouns. Okay, so we have a large number of variety in the nouns also. Ma'am, please, next slide. Like I, me, she, we, who, they, what, yours, his, and many more. Now, if I want to talk about my brother, I will say Paramjit Singh is my brother. Paramjit Singh is a hard-working man. I have used the word again, the name of the person again. But if I want to replace, I will say Paramjit Singh is my brother. He is a hard-working man. He, because he is my brother, he belongs to the male category. So for boys, we use he, him, his, himself. And if I talk about our academic head, Mrs. Sunita Dhingra ma'am is our academic head. She is an admirable personality. So instead of using her name, I have used the word she because she belongs to the female category. So it will be she, her, hers, herself are the pronouns used for the ones who belong to the female category. Now ma'am, I would request you to please tell me your name as well as any one of your favorite leisure time activity.
My name is Vishakha and I love listening to music.
Okay, she said, my name is Vishakha. I love to listen to music. So here she has used I. She did not say my name is Vishakha. Vishakha loves to listen to the music. In place of using her own name, she has used the word I. Right? She has used this I over here. Why? Because when you are replacing your own name, when you replace your own name, you use this pronoun I. And always remember, I am the best. I am special. So it will always be capital in the sentence, whether it is in the beginning, in the middle, or at the end. I will always be capital. Now, if I say, I have to talk about the person who is sitting next to me, I will say, you are wearing a beautiful sari. You. I have not said, okay, if I say like Surbhi Dikshit ma'am is sitting in front of me, she is wearing a beautiful sari. Because now I am describing her sari and I have used she in place of Surbhi Dikshit because she is a female. But when I am saying, just pointing out the person who is sitting next to me, then I will say you. Now, I'm moving ahead and talking about the other things. Now we all are sitting together. When I said we all are sitting together, have I included myself? Yes. When you are in group and you are including your own self, then you say we. We are a team. We work hard. When you talk about a group where you are not included, then it is they. Then it is they. Can you all smell pizza? I think somebody is having it in the purse. Is it so? Yeah, I can smell. I think it's there. So, would you like to have a pizza? Would you like to have pizza? I want. Yes, don't worry. They are. We have prepared them hygienically, so you can have it nicely. So, ma'am, please serve slices to everyone. . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . Okay. Now everybody, I would also like to have one, please. Thank you. You all must have got this beautiful pronoun pizza. Now I would request you all to just take few minutes and write down a noun in the blank given which this pronoun written on the topping can replace. Like I have it, use it here, they, she. I can help you, like it is used when you talk about animals or things. Like this is a chair. This is a chair, it is made up of plastic. So it is non-living thing, so we can use it with this. Only you have to write the noun. Don't frame the sentences, only the noun which it can replace. And whosoever will do it first, please say bingo and loudly. Any one noun, ma'am, which it can replace. Ma'am, have you done? Please say bingo. Thank you. Can you please read it out and show it to everyone?
My first word was it and I have replaced it with cat. Second one was she. I have replaced it with Bharti. Third one was we. I cannot replace it with anything, but we can say we are teachers. Teachers, I have
ma'am,
mentioned
there we can
teachers.
write I and my colleagues.
Okay, I and my colleagues are teachers.
Sure, ma'am.
Thank you.
Say ma'am bingo, then we'll come to you. Okay. Surely, we are coming to you
I
also.
have it, which I replaced with horse. She.
Ma'am, you will replace horse with it.
It, okay. I'll replace Radha with she.
Exactly.
And I will replace I and Sita with we.
Perfectly good. Please clap for her and ma'am, for you also. Okay, so many bingos are there now.
The first
They'll
one,
come to you.
the first pronoun I have is we, and I have placed it with I and teachers.
Okay.
The second one is it. I have replaced it with book. Third is she. I have replaced it with Bhanu.
Okay, very nice. Thank you so much, ma'am. Please clap for her.
My first pronoun is they, and I replace it with children.
Ma'am, I think there is some confusion. You have not replaced the pronoun. You have to speak out the noun first.
Okay,
and then you will
children
say
for they, citizen, we,
yes.
Rohit, he.
Very nice. Please clap for her. Ma'am, that side also. Who said bingo here first? Ma'am, please.
Richa, she.
Sure.
Share, it. Mohit and Rohit, they.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Huge round of applause for everyone. We all have done it nicely, and I hope we all must have enjoyed this yummylicious pizza also. Now, one thing we must mention to while teaching this thing to the children, that whenever you are using I, it should not be used in the beginning. Like you cannot say I and my friends. The sentence formation correctly, my friends and I. I is never placed at the beginning. Thank you so much. Now let's move ahead and proceed further.
So we have understood what are nouns. We have understood what are pronouns also. The words that describe nouns and pronouns are called adjective, and that is what our next topic. They are also called the describing words, right? Okay. What am I holding in my hands? A flower. Okay. Wait. Ma'am, what is the first thing that comes in your mind when you see this flower?
It is a pink flower and beautiful flower.
Okay. Can you tell the size of it? Big. It is a big flower. So, and how many are there in number? One. So the words like number, quality, shape, color, these all are the describing words that we use for describing nouns or pronouns, right? Now let us see one beautiful example. Can we have that activity slide? This is name acronym activity. Meet Ronald. How do we spell Ronald? Ronald. What we have done with the initial alphabet of his spellings, we have written his one quality. R for religious, O for obedient, N for nice, A for adorable, L for lovable, D for diligent. So in this way, we can imbibe good qualities in our young kids. Right? Now, I will ask any one of the teacher to spell your name and, just describe yourself. Ma'am, can we have the mic over there? Ma'am, just spell your name.
Myself, Aparna Jain.
Can you add?
Parna. A for amiable, P for pretty,
very good.
A for adorable, R for religious, N for nice, and again A for adorable.
Excellent. So, it is our duty being a teacher to imbibe good qualities and positive aspect in our children. So, in this way, we can do so. We write affirmations also daily in the notebook as we believe it will help, right? Now, switching on to our next topic.
Okay, so is everyone ready to sing a song? Yes. So, ma'am, can we have the next slide? Okay, I think we all have learned this nursery rhyme A, B, C, D. So I would request everyone to please sing along with me. A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, K, L, M, N, O, P, L, M, N, O, P, Q, R, S, T, U, V, W, X, Y, Z. Thank you so much. Ma'am, you are sitting there. Can you please tell me how many alphabets are these? 26. Thank you. And among these 26 alphabets, there are 5 unfriendly alphabets, right? They are A, E, I, O, U. And that's why these devil alphabets have been named as vowels. And the other poor 21 are called the consonants. They all are called the consonants. The 5 are the vowels and the rest 21 are the consonants. Now they are feeling very proud of themselves. All the vowels are being, you can say they think themselves as the most superior. So they say that I will take an. I will take an. Whichever word will commence with my letter should have a special crown. Like I have also put a crown over A because A is a vowel and it feels proud of itself. So whenever any of the word commences with a vowel, there we use the word that is an. And an is an article because it is used before a noun, a word. You can see here an eagle, E, an iguana, I, an ostrich, O, an elephant, E. All of these are the vowels. And the poor 21 consonants took only a. Took only a. Like a monkey, M, M. A bear, B. A donkey, D. A snake, S. The devils are not there. So they have just taken a over here. Now ma'am, please move ahead. So we all have learned that an article is a word that comes before a noun, the boy, a bee, and an apple. Now, it happens very often that children get confused when the words, ma'am, please forward. When the words like this come, when they come across such words, they get confused. So I prefer giving them a trick. Okay, ma'am, can you please read out this word? Honest. Honest. Oh. I give them a trick that you don't bother about vowels. They are the devils, don't bother about them. Just bother about the swar sound. Swar sound. Here it is, O. O. We have swar a, e, u, a, I, o. It is honest, o. So wherever you get the swar sound, there you have to place the vowel an. There you have to place the vowel an. In this way, they don't get confused that whether it is starting with a vowel or a consonant and which article they have to use. Let's see with more examples. Now here, it is union. Year. The sound is year. Though it is starting, it is commencing with a vowel u, but it sounds like year. The vyanjan year is there. Swar is not there. So that's why here it will be a union. Next, year. The pronunciation of the children is ear. So they put and. Ma'am, it is sounding like ear. But it is year. Year is there in a very light tone. Year. So let's look at the examples which we had already taken. An eagle. E. The swar sound E is there. Next. An iguna. E. Again. Next. An ostrich. O. Next. An elephant. A. So these all are sounding like the swar. So that's why they are using the article an. And the remaining ones are called the consonants which are using the article a, because they are not having the swar sound. Now let's move ahead and learn about the third article, that is the. That is called the definite article, because that doesn't bother about any sound. It is definite that I will come here only. I will not bother about anything. I will come here only. I am having so much of determination that I am definite about my ideas, so I will be the definite. That is the article the. And this definite article is used before the names of places like the Taj Mahal, names of the newspapers, the Times of India, the Hindustan Times, and the names of the mountains, rivers, the Himalayas, the Ganga, the Yamuna, and many more. And they are also used when we talk about the heavenly bodies, the names of the planets, the sun, the moon, the earth, the Pluto, or Neptune. And the most important thing is that the is used when you talk about the same thing the second time. Like here it is, Mohan is a boy. The boy is wearing red shirt. He is the boy whom I met yesterday. Now, Mohan is a boy. Okay, a boy, because we are talking it about a boy, a singular one, a boy. The boy is wearing, I am talking about the same boy again. I am talking about the same boy again. So I have used the boy is wearing the red shirt. He is the boy whom I met yesterday. Here I have made particular that I met him only. So I am mentioning his name on. That's why I have written the over here. So let's recapitulate this concept also. Okay. Dash ant was being carried away. An ant was being carried along a current of a river. It was trying to reach a bank. A parrot was sitting on a tree near the bank. Now we have talked about the bank the second time, so it will be the. The bank was watching all this. Dash parrot, the parrot. Because firstly we said a parrot. A parrot was sitting on the tree. When we talked about the same parrot again, it became the parrot took pity on from the tree and took out a leaf from the tree. So I hope the concept of articles is very much clear to everyone. Thank you. Now, let's proceed and switch to the next topic, that is talking about the positions. Okay. Now, ma'am, please, position, preposition. Here the word itself is telling preposition, the position of the noun. where the noun is. Okay, can we all see where our bags are? Please see. On the floor. On the floor. Okay. Where is your money? In the bag. In. I have talked about the position where the money is. Okay. If I keep this flower here, under the chair, I am keeping the flower under the chair. So the position of the flower became that it is under the chair. And now on the chair, because it is touching the surface of the chair. So I have used on. Now just look up at the ceiling fan. Is it on your head? Or over? What will you say? On, above, or over? It's over our head, because over is used when you manage to touch that. It is not touching the surface, but you manage to touch. And above is when you are not able to touch. And one more thing which we must keep in mind while using over is that over is also used when it covers something. I took the bed sheet over myself. Over. It has covered your body. So there we use over. Okay. Now let's talk about more prepositions. Under we have discussed over. Now the next is at. At is used when you talk about something particular. Now if I say in the whole school, one particular place is reception, where we can inquire about anything, right? So how will we say? Please go and meet, or please go and inquire at the reception. Because in the whole school, I have mentioned one particular place, that is reception. So I said, please go and inquire about your things at the reception. Secondly, at is also used when we talk about time. When we talk about time, it is 2 o'clock, right? Now, if I have to say that I will reach some place, maybe reaching to the school in the morning, so what do we say? I will reach at 8 a.m. At. And when we talk about days, dates, then we use on. Talking about the time, when you are particularly mentioning the particular time, then it is at. And when you are talking about days or dates, then it is on. Like, we celebrate Independence Day on 15 August. Okay, ma'am. When does you have your birthday?
Next.
My birthday is?
My birthday is on 19th January.
Okay, so it's about to reach. We will expect the party from you. So she said, my birthday is on 19th January. So when you have mentioned the date, 19th January, it is on. And when we talk about days, then also we use on. We will meet you on Tuesday. Thank you so much. We will meet you on Tuesday. So when we talk about dates and days, we use on. Now switching ahead, in. Do we use in also for time? Yes. When we talk about years and month. We got independence in 1947. So, sorry? I couldn't make out. What did you say? In minutes. Sure. When I'm here mentioning about the year. So when you mention specifically about year, then we use in. I was born in 1987. And when you talk about month also, we celebrate Republic Day in January. So in is used when you are talking about month or the year. Now, here we have the example where children are often getting confused. Now let's read and see. First picture says the boy is dash the bed. On the bed or in the bed? On the bed, yes, because he is sitting on it, he is touching it. Now, next picture. The boy is dash the bed. How many of you say on? Okay, how many of you say in? All hands have not been risen. It is in the bed. Because when you are inside anything, like your quilt or your blanket, you say, I am in the bed. And when you're just sitting, then it is on the bed. Nice. The next confusing thing is, first picture, the boy is dash the chair. On or in? On the chair. If you look at yourself also, you all are sitting on the chair. Second picture, the granny is dash the chair. In or on? Again, let's poll out. How many of you say on? And how many of you say in? In, yes. It is, the granny is in the chair because that chair is having arms. We can show children this picture by showing the difference. That chair which did not have the arms, there we say that you are on the chair. And the chair which has arms, there we say he is sitting in the chair. Ma'am, the next one. Okay. The doctor is in, on, at the hospital. In the hospital. Okay. The patient is in, on, at the hospital. I couldn't make out. Both will be in the hospital? Ma'am, please. The patient is at the hospital. Okay. Anybody else would like to share anything? Here, when you are just working in the hospital, you are not the patient, you are not being admitted, or you are just a visitor to visit any of the family member who has been hospitalized, then we say at. The doctor is at the hospital. Maybe you have just taken an appointment to visit the doctor, but you are not admitted. So it is at. And when you are admitted in the hospital, then it is in the hospital. This is a thin line difference. If we will teach children from the tender age only, of course, they will not have any problem in the coming years. So that's all for this topic. I hope you all must have enjoyed it. Thank you so much. So let's recapitulate. Or before that, if you wish to ask something, please go ahead. Thank you so much. Any query which I can help you out? Yes, sure. Well, yes, particular place. Exactly. Yes. Sure, sure. Ma'am, but this is just for class 3. So that's why I have not incorporated many things. Otherwise, we teach the 3 categories of prepositions also. Okay, anything else? Okay, let's recapitulate it via an activity for which I request Anuja ma'am to proceed.
Yes, we are holding an object in our hand for writing. What is it? It's a pen, right? So we are going to quickly position the pen, I would say, on the head, above the head, under the chair, in the bag, besides the cardboard, behind the chair. I hope this has made the concept of prepositions clear to everyone.
Thank you so much. Abhijot, what are you doing?
I'm listening to a song.
Did you say listen?
Yes, I listen to a song. Right now I'm listening to a song.
Okay. I am speaking and you people are listening. Any guesses for our next topic? Verbs. Verbs, very good. So verbs are the actions that we do. All the action words are called verbs. So let us just break this monotonous schedule. Let's all of us get up for an activity. Come on, everybody, stand up. Now we are going to play move and freeze. When I speak about any verb, you are going to do that action. And when I say freeze, you just have to stop. Okay, wave. Freeze. Nod. Freeze. Twist. Freeze. Sit down. So all the action words like flying, jumping, singing, dancing, teaching, hearing, all these are verbs. Verbs are the actions that we perform. For example, climbing, dancing, flying and jumping. The base form of the okay. So any guesses what she is doing? Dancing. Can we have the next GIF? They are playing. Next one? Laughing. So what is the base form of the verb here? Laugh. When we add ing, it becomes a verb. Then play. Playing. Jump. Jumping. So all the actions that we perform are called verbs.
Okay, so now we have learned that the action words are called the verbs. Now let's learn more about verbs. There are 3 forms of verb. Children are often getting confused with these, the name specially. The first form of the verb is the present form. The second form is the past form. And the third form, children often say future. But it is past participle form of verb. We need to mention this thing again and again so that it must be cemented in their mind that the third form of the verb means the past participle form of verb. Then this is what they have to really learn by heart. So the first form of the verb is also called the present form, that is arise. Second form, arose, arisen. I think you all can help me out in this. Right. Buy, bought. Catch, caught. Eat, eaten. Find, found. Go, went, learned. Run, ran. See, saw, seen. Tell, told. These must be learned by children by heart because they are going to help them in tenses also, which we'll be learning in this workshop only, but in the session number 2. And they must understand that it's really important that they can express their ideas nicely if they know the 3 forms of verb. Now let's recapitulate this concept also. Next slide. Okay. For recapitulation, I will ask you that if I give you one verb, will you able to tell me the past form of that? Okay, ma'am. What will be the past form of jump? Jump. What will be the past participle form of run? Run. The past participle form of run is run. Ran. In this way, we can guide our children to learn it. We can give this as the homework one day, and the next day, we can incorporate this activity in the class. Thank you.
1, 2, 3, start.
जीवन तुमने दिया है, संभालोगे तुम। जीवन तुमने दिया है, संभालोगे तुम। आशा हमें है, विश्वास है, हर मुश्किल से विधाता संभालोगे तुम। जीवन तुमने दिया है, संभालोगे तुम।
Thank you so much. Now, we have learned many things, that what is a sentence, what is a noun, what is a pronoun. Now, let's read this sentence. This side teachers who all are sitting here, I think it is readable? Yes. Can you please read it out for me? Richa likes to swim. Sorry, Ria likes to swim. Okay, the teacher sitting on this side. Can you please read out whatever is written here? Richa likes to dance. The people sitting here said, Ria likes to swim, and they said, Richa likes to dance. The two girls have different likings. One likes to dance and one likes to swim. So when you have to join the two ideas which are opposite in nature, then we use the word but. Then we use the word but, which is working like a glue in the sentence. It is joining two sentences. Like when we have to paste any two papers, what do we use? Either Fevicol or glue, right? Similarly, when you are joining these two sentences to make your writing more impressive, you have used the word but. But one thing we must keep in mind, that but is used when you are talking about the different ideas. Like, ma'am please. Here also, we can see how the connectivity has been shown. That one word, at one sentence at one side and another word on the other side. Next, ma'am. So, but is used to talk about the contrasting ideas. Contrasting, opposite or different, whatever we say. Like here, I like apples. One thing, the person said that I like apples. Opposite to it, that I don't like bananas. Completely opposite. So, when you are joining two opposite ideas, you have to use the two different ideas joined together are by the conjunction but. Now, I would request the teacher sitting at the back. Ma'am, can you please tell me any two things which you like to do?
I like to eat apples as well as bananas.
Can you frame two sentences?
Yeah. I am an honest and I am courageous.
Okay.
I am an honest, I am courageous.
Thank you
and
so
I
much.
have added and conjunction in between.
Thank you so much for explaining this concept. When you have the same ideas, she said, I am honest. She talked about her own quality. The another quality was that she is hardworking. Sorry, ma'am, what did you say? I am honest and courageous. So she has added one more quality to that sentence, so which we have joined with and, because both the ideas were same, both the concepts were talking about one idea only. So and is used when you add information to any of the sentence or you join any two ideas which are similar in nature. Okay, now I'll give you one sentence. If you are unwell, just imagine you are unwell. What will you do? Ma'am, please.
I will take medicines.
I will take medicine. Ji, ma'am. Shilpa, ma'am. If you are unwell, what will you do?
I will go to a doctor.
Okay, you will visit
Abhijot ma'am, Poonam ma'am, Deepika ma'am, and whoever is taking the workshop, please you should take care that you should not repeat any of the teacher. Okay. And every teacher will get a chance to speak.
Fine.
Please you should take care.
Sure.
Yes, definitely.
Okay.
In the class also what you are doing, you are asking the child who knows about that or one child only?
We give chance to
everyone. That is very, very important.
Sure,
so
ma'am,
you just treat this as your classroom.
Sure, ma'am. Okay, Shilpa ma'am, you said that if you will be unwell, what will you do? That you will visit the doctor.
Yes.
So first thing that happened is that she will say, I am unwell. I am unwell. And what will she do as a result? She will visit the doctor. So, here comes the conjunction to join both the sentences. That is, I am unwell, so I will visit the doctor. So, this conjunction so is used when you talk about the result, something happened the first, and what is the consequence of that? That you visited the doctor. So there comes the use of the conjunction so. Okay, please move ahead, ma'am. The slide needs to. Next one. Next. Next. Okay. Now here the another comes because. It is used to give reason. For example, I am not willing to come to school today. What is the reason? Because I am having fever or I am suffering from any other ailment. Whenever you are wishing to give any reason, or you say, I am going to the doctor because I am unwell. In the previous sentence, we said, I am unwell, so I am going to the doctor. Now it is vice versa. I am going to the doctor because I am unwell. The vice versa thing will happen because there you are giving the result and here you are giving the reason for doing that action. Ma'am, next one please. Like here, why is the girl sleeping? I have inquired that what is the reason that she is sleeping. The girl is sleeping because she is tired. So, now we all, I think, must have taken the exams where we get choices. 2 letters are written in bold, O-R, or. Do this question or do that question. So that means you have to choose any one. So ma'am, would you like to have tea or coffee?
Coffee.
She chose one because I gave her the choice. I gave her the choice. 2 things were there and she has to choose one thing out of it. So she chose coffee. So whenever we are giving choice to someone, we use the conjunction or. Next. Here also, we can eat pizza or burger. Next please. So now, here comes the time to recapitulate, for which I'll invite Anuja ma'am.
To give you sentences and using a conjunction you will complete it, right? I'm coming to you ma'am. I like teaching. You have to give a reason for this. The conjunction that you will be using.
I like teaching because I'm passionate about it.
Okay. I like teaching because I'm passionate about it. Anyone else who will try? Ma'am, please, at the end. I like teaching.
As teaching is my hobby.
Okay, right. So, another example that can be like, what did we have for lunch? I'm asking you a question. What did we just had for our, or you can say a refreshment? And? Okay, so that's the conjunction that we are using. Right, I hope the concept is clear with all.
So now we are done with all parts of speech. Now we are going to recite a beautiful poem, self-composed poem. All of you must have got this. Let's do it together. Yes, everybody together. A noun is a person, place or thing.
A noun is a person, place or thing. As Peter, Paul, or a ring.
As Peter, Paul, or a ring. A pronoun replaces a noun you see. You will speak the next line, okay? A pronoun replaces a noun you see.
Example, it, she, they, you and we.
A verb tells what action is done.
Like sing, play, jump, and run.
An adjective modifies and describes a noun or pronoun.
Like beautiful star, bright sun, and strong.
A preposition links a noun to other words.
Like in or into other words.
A conjunction joins other words or clause.
For example, or, but, as, so, yet, or because.
An interjection is short exclamation.
It explains strong feelings or emotions.
Thank you so much. You recited it beautifully.
So now, let's move to the most interesting part of the workshop, that is tenses, which I stated before also, that verbs are important so that the child can use them in the concept of tenses, and tenses are important so that the child can express his views or emotions in a effective manner. Do you remember, one method is always taught in the training, teacher training, that story narration. That is really very effective. When we narrate a story to the children, they keep it in their mind, they visualize, and they are able to apprehend the concept in a better way. So I have framed a story, so I hope you all are going to enjoy. So let's start. Once upon a time, there was the kingdom of time, where the Queen Tense ruled over time. The time was dancing on her tunes. She had 3 beautiful daughters, past, present, and future. The first daughter, past tense, was the girl who always thought about the things which had already happened. Next one, which had already happened. Like, she bought a beautiful gown. Like, she had nice word with her mother. She told a beautiful story to her friend. So she was always talking about the things which had already happened in yesterday. And the second princess was the princess present tense, who was a joyful girl, loved to live in today. She cherished every moment which was there in front of her. She cherished everything doing in the present time. And the third daughter was Princess Future Tense. She was a girl who was very optimistic, as well as she used to wonder about the future, about the things which are going to happen. She always wondered about them. And her name is Future Tense. Now one day, so in this way we can tell the children about the 3 types of tenses. That tense talks about the time when the action happens. Is it happening right now? That means present. That had already happened? That is past. That will happen in the coming time will be future. So let's proceed. Next one. So one day, Mr. Simple, a magician, came to the kingdom. All the 3 girls were very happy. They thought, now when he will move his magic wand, we will get beautiful gifts. And the same thing happened. When he moved his magic wand, the first daughter, the past tense, quickly ran and picked up the second form of the verb, that is the past form. And then came the second daughter. She quickly ran and picked up the first form of the verb, that is the present tense. But the poor third daughter, future tense, could not get anything because her eyesight was weak. Everything was being very blurry to her. She was unable to see what came out of the hat. So she went to the queen and cried in front of her. I cannot get anything. I was unable to see what was there. So I don't have anything. Then the Queen Tense said, don't worry. I will take you to the eye specialist. We will find out the reason why you could not see anything. They took her there and they provided a beautiful specs to her. Like when we people are also having poor vision, we wear specs to see the things nicely. So she was given a beautiful spec that is called will. So whenever you are using the future tense, this will always be there with you. So in this way, we can teach different concepts to the children, that when you are talking about the simple present tense, you have to use the first form of the verb. When you are talking about the simple past tense, the second form of the verb. And whenever it is the future tense, you will use the specs will. Now, the question came that what will she get? Because she did not have anything. So, the joyful girl came there. The second daughter, she shared her first form of the verb with her. So, in the simple future tense, we can teach children that will and the first form of the verb is used to frame sentences. Now, let's move ahead and learn where all do we use the simple present tense. In this way, we can narrate a story so that they will have a good set of mind to keep the things in their mind. So sorry. When we are talking about our habits, what we do every day. For example, ma'am, what is the first thing you do in the morning? Ma'am, there at the back. Yes. What do you do in the morning first?
I just get up and thank God for a beautiful day.
She said, I get up. Get, the first form of the verb. Thank you, ma'am. Here. Ma'am, this. Yes, ma'am. Can you please tell? Please tell your name and then.
Pratibha Sharma, I take bath.
She said, I take bath. This is her daily routine. She is doing this thing, everything. So that's why it is the simple present tense where we have used the first form of the verb. The sentences are given on the slide also, like I go to school every day. I take piano classes on Saturdays. He plays football every weekend. Secondly, we use simple present tense when we talk about our feelings and the things we believe. I believe I will go to Canada next year. So in this sentence, I'm talking about my feelings. I'm talking about my beliefs. Secondly, I think it's a good idea. Think. Again, the first form of the verb has been used. And the most importantly, simple present tense is used to talk about the universal facts, the true facts, which cannot be changed by any means. The sun rises in the east. Ma'am, can you change the sun rising from the east? Not at all possible. It will rise from the east only. Then comes, where do we use all simple present tense and how do we use the form of first form in the simple present tense? Next, please. Whenever our subject is singular, then we add s or es to the first form of the verb. Like, she said, I get up early. As I said, I am special. So, it is going to take the plural verb. But if I say she, then it will be she gets up. S will be added with the verb get. And here we need to focus on the last letter of the verb. If your verb is ending with Y, it will get converted into IES. The baby cries. CRY, Y will be removed and we will add IES. And when your verb is ending with S, Z, CH, X, then we will add ES. He brushes his teeth. My mother washes the clothes. SH is there at the end. So in this way, we can inculcate the rules of simple present tense. Now let's move ahead and see what is the structure which says subject, verb 1, S or ES if the subject is singular, and if it is plural, then no S or ES will be added. Child plays. Nothing has been added. Sorry, plays. S has been added because child is singular. Children play. Children is plural subject, so we have not added any S or ES. Okay, now I would request ma'am sitting there, can you please frame a sentence in the simple present tense with the verb jump?
I jump on my desk.
I jump on my desk. Okay. Any other teacher from that side? Ma'am, you please. Yes, this one. Yes, ma'am. Any one word, any one sentence in simple present with singular subject.
My mother washes the clothes.
Any other?
Okay,
My mother washes the utensils. Okay.
I go to school.
I go to school. Right. Here I was there. I was the subject. So we have not added any S or ES. It is I go to school. Yes, ma'am. Next, please.
He goes to school.
He goes to school. So here comes the difference. When I said I have not added any S or ES. But when the subject is he, then it became he goes to the school.
The verb changes only with third person singular and singular nouns.
Okay, please give an example.
Like she washes the utensils, but I go to the market. You is always considered
But for class 3 child, we can make him one thing in mind, that I am special. So that will always be there in his mind and he will be able to use nicely.
Okay.
Okay, so let's move ahead and let's talk about the simple past tense. Simple past tense, as the past daughter is always thinking about the past, the yesterday which had already gone, and she picked up the second form of the verb. So she did not bother about anyone whether the subject is singular or plural. That doesn't matter to the simple past tense. It is always being used with the singular as well as the plural subjects. The second form of the verb will always be there. Like the second form of the verb, ride, that is rode. People rode incident cars 100 years ago. Something which had already happened. People used lamps in the evening 50 years ago. I'm talking about all the things which had already happened. Please, next one. So the structure says subject plus simple past, that is the second form of the verb, and the object. No matter whether my subject is singular or plural. Okay, ma'am. Can you please tell us what did you do yesterday?
I went for shopping.
I went for shopping. Went is the past form of go. So I went for shopping. Went is the second form of the verb and I is the subject. Ma'am, you please. What did you do yesterday? Because we are talking about past.
No, you asked me what I'm doing, so I said I did a lot of work.
What did you do?
The last thing I remember, I cooked dinner.
I cooked dinner. Cooked. The second form of the verb cook is cooked. Okay. So I hope the simple past tense is clear to all of us. Now the next is the simple future tense, where we have seen that it's future, so it's going to wear the specs. The specs are called will. And the adorable present tense, the second daughter shared the first form of the verb, and here we are talking that he will buy her a present. So in this way we can explain children about all the three tenses. Now here I would like to just add on one more information. Can you tell me what is the difference between purchase and buy? Is there any difference or not? Any difference in these two words? Purchase and buy. Then why do we say purchase department? Why don't we say buy department? The things are vice versa. When you are purchasing, that means you are getting that to be sold. That's why it is purchase department. And when you buy it for your own self or your loved ones. Thank you so much.